Hey, what's up everybody? Jake here and welcome to the hobby. 5 years ago, it was actually pretty easy to spot the difference between a fake Pokemon card and a real one. But nowadays, a lot of the fakes are getting much more clever and it's getting much harder to spot the difference between fakes and real Pokemon card products. That's why in today's video, I'm going to be teaming up with SNKRDUNK to provide you guys with a ton of basic information on how you can do some simple sanity check on whether you have a fake or resealed Pokemon card product, how you can spot the difference between fake and real Pokemon cards, and some obvious sanity checks for when you are buying graded slabs. The first group that we're going to be talking about is going to be fake sealed Pokemon card products as well as tampered products, because there's lots of different ways that this can trip people up, and it's by far the most common category that does trip people up. The first way that you can look at it is to do a basic sanity check. Does this product even exist? A lot of times for certain products like Ascended Heroes, Paldean Fates, English 151, Shiny Star V, Crown Zenith, all of these sets do not have a booster box configuration. So if you're out there and you see a Prismatic Evolutions booster box, a Paldean Fates booster box, or English 151 booster box, you can already tell that that is a fake product because it does not exist in that configuration. Ascended Heroes, Prismatic Evolutions, Paldean Fates, these special Pokemon card sets do not have booster boxes of them. So if you're able to purchase a booster box online, most likely that is fake. A simple sanity check would be to even knowing if that product exists or not. The next sanity check that I would like to do, especially for products that do exist, something like a Japanese 151 booster box, there are fakes and tampers of those out there. How do you tell the difference between a fake one and a real one? Well, a lot of times the simple thing is to look at the actual image itself. Are you looking at a legitimate, authentic booster box? There's usually not going to be one single telltale signs, but a lot of times the devil is in the detail. How many red flags can you currently spot? Is the spelling correct? Is the font correct? Does the image look right? Is there a lack of detail in the coloring and the ink? The more red flags that you can spot in the Pokemon card product, the more likely that it's going to be a fake or tampered product. Usually it's not going to be one single telltale sign, but it's going to be a lot of small hints and clues that add up to the final conclusion that this is a fake or tampered product. A quick image comparison between a real Pokemon card product and the one that you're currently looking at can give you a lot of information on the details. Does the font on the information on the real one compared to the fake one look correct? Are there any differences? The more details that you can spot that's different, the more likely that you're looking at a fake Pokemon card product. And there is plethora amounts of information out there on fake products, especially on the ones that are the most common fakes, which are the modern ones. They are getting much more clever. A lot of times it's only ever going to trip you up once, and you'll probably never make that mistake again, because once you've been scammed or faked once, you start recognizing some of the telltale signs and it doesn't trip you up again. But my goal is to make sure that it never even trips you up for that first time. The second group that we're going to be talking about is the actual fake cards themselves. And this is a really gargantuan categories as well. There are a ton of really obvious fake Pokemon cards or proxies out there, but there's also a new growing categories of brand new fake Pokemon cards that are really close to being authentic, especially if you've never seen the fake ones out there. Believe me, they are tripping up even the most seasoned collectors, vendors, people who are deep in the business are still losing tens of thousands of dollars to fake Pokemon cards. And it's getting harder to spot because a lot of the newer fakes include texturing, the correct hollow patterns, and a lot more details than the previous older fakes, which are really obvious to tell. Even though some of the most modern cards from sets like Ascended Heroes, like the brand new Gengar V Max, are getting fake cards out there. So how do you spot the difference between a fake and a real one? Well, one of the easier ways to tell is knowing what a real copy of that card looks like. If you've never seen a real copy of the Gengar V Max before, you might not want to pick up that copy immediately. Once you start getting some understanding of the card that you're looking to collect, it's much harder for that fake to actually trip you up because you start recognizing, oh, there's no texturing in the energy pattern of the card. Oh, the texture pattern, while it does have some, is actually not the correct texture pattern. the details on the ink might be incorrect. A lot of times the issue is actually in the detail of the cards. A fake can probably fool you from across the room or from eyeball distance, especially if you've never seen a real copy of that card before. Regardless of how good I am at telling fake Pokemon cards from real ones, if I've never seen a real Gengar VMAX before, how can I tell the difference between a fake one? There's a ton of resources out there and a ton of people who are professionals at authenticating some of these products, and they are doing a fantastic job of stopping some of these fakes before they ever make it into your hand. So absolutely use some of those resources, especially if you've never purchased certain cards before. The last category we're going to be talking about is fake graded Pokemon card slabs. There are a ton of those out there, and it's getting much harder to spot, especially for newer collectors who trust the slab too much. As soon as they see an authentication service like PSA, they automatically assume the card is real before even looking at the card. So in today's video, I'm going to try to make sure you guys get that detail. First off, the most simple test possible is the certification number. You should be able to type in a certification number, whether it's PSA, BGS, CGC, or any other category. Type in that authentication number and see if it actually pulls up the card. That is the first telltale sign. If the certification number does not work or is deactivated, that is a telltale sign that you might have a fake card, a tampered card, or even a stolen card. Those are all potential categories. A lot of people are buying cards, especially graded cards right now, without ever checking the certification number. And that is by far the most common check. It's not a perfect check, but at least it filters out a ton of potential scenarios where you are going to get screwed. The next way to check is to actually look at the card. Does the card match the certification number? A lot of times for newer cards, they have an image scan of what the card is actually supposed to look like. Now, if the Mega Charizard X that I'm currently looking at looks nothing like the one that's actually inside of the official certification number, that's a telltale sign that that is not the correct card. A lot of people are not doing this step right now. They're not even comparing their card to the card that it's supposed to be. And the final check, and this is one that a lot of people are actually doing first, is looking at the label. Is the label correct? Is the holographic pattern on the PSA stamp looking accurate? A lot of times it's too glittery. There's some obvious telltale signs in the details. Some of the font can be incorrect. The spacing of the font is incorrect. And I will tell you, this is actually the hardest one to do, but a lot of people are doing this step first. Before ever checking the certification number, before ever checking the image of the graded Pokemon card, they're already looking at this step, which is, hey, does the label even look correct? And I'll tell you, like I said, this is by far the hardest one to do, because if you're not used to looking at the correct font on a label, if you're not used to seeing what a real label look like, it can be incredibly hard to spot, which is why I recommend doing step 1 and step 2 first. Check the certification number and check if the card even looks like the image on the official scan. The reasons that step 1 and step 2 are so important is because anyone can do step 1 and step 2 without knowing anything about graded Pokemon cards. Without any prior knowledge on graded Pokemon cards, you can do step 1 and step 2 and still identify if the cards are fake or real. Step 3 requires you to have a lot of insider knowledge on the differences between Pokemon card labels to actually spot. But like I said, a lot of people are doing step 3 first, which is actually checking the labels. By doing step 1 and steps 2, you can filter out a lot of the fakes. Now for a marketplace like SNKRDUNK, they go the extra mile. They do a lot of steps that are not available to the average collector like you or I. They can do stuff like X-ray the booster box to make sure that the amount of booster packs inside of the product is actually correct. They can use infrared sensors to make sure that there's no tampering with the hit rate, so that they didn't just pull out the secret rare and put in a different booster pack and your booster box won't have a secret rare or something of that nature. So they can go a lot of different extra steps to make sure that the booster box is 100% legitimate. Now, we can't go to that level as collectors ourselves, but there are tons of different sanity checks to make sure that the Pokemon card product is correct. And if you have any additional steps that you would highly recommend other collectors know about, leave them down in the comment section. There's absolutely a ton of people out there that are currently trying to screw you over, and a big part of that is because the hobby is just really inflated right now with a ton of money flowing into it. So absolutely be patient, take a couple of basic extra steps to do some simple sanity checks when you're purchasing your Pokemon card products, and the more red flags you see, the less likely you should probably make that purchase. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you guys next time.